All right, so this has been a pretty interesting week to say the least. Uh, we started off the week incredibly gapped down. We closed Friday at what did we close at? We closed at 25,683 on NQ, and then on 69.75 on ES. And then we opened up on Sunday night at 25,469 on NQ, and then 69.16 on ES. So we had a huge gap down, and price that day just continued to go lower all the way until the 100 moving average on NQ. And this is kind of for me, like on the daily chart, the bull bear zone, to say the least, long term. Because if we start making lower lows, lower highs below the 100 daily moving average, then that just screams long term downside, right? But no, not yet. We're not moving long term downside yet. Found buyers here previously. And then buyers stepped in once again at the 100 daily moving average. And if we just zoom out just a little bit further, we can kind of see that we're just kind of like in a big range right now. Okay. We are in January the 22nd right now. And I mean, we've been in this kind of like huge range since, I mean, I'd say October. Just look at this box right here that we kind of got going on NQ, right? It's kind of just like a big, huge range. I guess we can kind of like draw the range right here. And then these could just be looked at as like false breakouts, like false breakout, false breakout, false breakout, false breakdown, false breakdown. And it's just been kind of like hectic, right? We're just ranging in this range. So what I'm interested to see is what we do today. Okay. If we bring that range box back out, and let me just go ahead and change the color of the range box to make it look a little better. Oops. So let's see. Let's change that. There we go. If we just go ahead and just look at this box and see where sellers have been stepping in. I mean, again, this 25, 843 to 875 zone has been a major rejection zone. So what does that tell me? That tells me, dude, when we get up there, if we touch that, I am no longer looking for longs. Once we reach this point right here, for me, longs are dead. Why? Well, I mean, it's kind of simple, right? We rejected here, 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 and here. And just keep in mind, these are all daily bars, right? Once you kind of get up at this zone, you either have harder rejections or you have a lot of chop. You don't really have nice continuation. So to catch the long move would be fairly difficult once we do get up there. So I wouldn't be opposed to where, let's say, price wants to kind of come back down and then we can kind of get some longs on a pullback. I would love that. That would be amazing, right? How likely are we to do that? Well, we're just gonna have to see. But this is kind of what I'm looking for. I don't. We could try to get previous week's high and then immediately reject. But to be honest, I mean that's being quite ambitious. It is Wednesday. We are in the middle of the week, so it's not like we can't, right? But again, if we just look back at what has recently happened, we can just realistically say, hey, that's a little bit ambitious, right? And so these are kind of like the moves I'm looking for. And then let's say we lose this level. Well, then at that point, then I mean, you can just look for shorts down to the next zone, maybe even attack previous day's low. But the chances of us going down to previous day's low after already taking out previous day's high is a little bit unlikely. But off the daily chart, this is what I'm expecting on NQ. I'm expecting to either find buyers down at the 630s. I want a little bit of a pullback. Or if we lose the 630s, we come back down to the 25, 40, 81 zone, which is where the weekly open, monthly open, and yearly open are all sitting right now. We come back down, retest that level, find a reversal setup there to take the longs up into the 25, 843 zone. And for ES, it's going to be kind of something similar, except obviously ES has been a lot better in terms of like being trending. And we're kind of like sideways to higher price action in ES. So in ES, I'd be kind of looking for like a very similar scenario. See if we can hold that 69.17 zone, come back up. Maybe we can touch the 7,026 zone. If not, then what I do think can happen as well is we can just dip a little bit lower and then find some buyers below the monthly and yearly open. But if we lose that, then in my opinion, we can honestly just see some acceptance and kind of like move lower. But I'm leaning on the bulls. I'm Team Bull until we reach that zone on NQ, to where we've previously started to reject. And we really know when to kind of like put pause on the longs is when ES makes a new all-time high and then NQ hits this zone of resistance. Now we're like, okay, their moves are kind of played out. We can either expect the rejection or some serious chop. And I'm leaning more towards like the choppy side. So it's either kind of we just lose these levels and we can ride the shorts down, or we hope to get in off a pullback, go long up until the 25,843. Once we get to that zone, we have to be careful. We definitely want to start taking partials out of there, maybe hold a runner to take previous week's high. But again, the chances of that is, can or cannot be likely. But looking at also at the daily, I'm going to do a deep analysis. We are almost breaking out of the daily 9 moving average right now. So as long as we can continue with this upward momentum, it's going to look really good for longs. ES, we're not quite there yet. We do need to take that 69.72 daily level to really have that nice 9 moving average daily breakout. But if we look at the 4-hour chart, again, same thing right now. We are in a 4-hour non-moving average uptrend. We did break out yesterday, and now we're just kind of like continuing. We haven't really set in a higher low. Well, I mean, you could kind of call this a higher low, but not a higher low off of the 9 moving average. And then on ES, I mean, same exact thing. We are in a nice 4-hour hourly uptrend, which is why I want to look for longs. I just want to get long off of a pullback. And then looking at the hourly, let's go ahead and map out our scenarios for today. So overnight, obviously we gapped up slightly. We closed that gap, came back down to the monthly, weekly open and monthly, weekly, and yearly open, and then found buyers down there to continue kind of moving higher. We are in a 1-hour 9 moving average uptrend, and ideally, what I would ideally like, and again, following the plan that we mapped out on the daily and 4-hour chart, I want to find buyers down at the 630s, get some momentum up, and then potentially go ahead and attack that 25 865 zone where we've previously had all this rejection and resistance at. So that's going to be that'll be scenario 1, right? But also in addition to scenario 1, if we do lose that 630s, I'm not bearish yet. I'm not bearish yet. I do want us to hold this hourly zone and then potentially find buyers down here. All right, and I'll go ahead and mark this off as scenario 1, because either we're going to take a reversal setup off of the 630s or the 25 560s. And then if we lose that, well, then I can definitely kind of see us taking the monthly, weekly, and yearly opens, maybe finding buyers down at the 25 408s. But at that point, once we lose this, I mean, we're kind of now in a 1-hour 9 moving average downtrend, and I could then look for some intraday shorts. And then so that'll be kind of like be my scenario 2. And then let's just say, hey, we're having a bad day. Trump probably says something crazy. And then we want to continue lower. I mean, it's pretty viable. And then that'll be scenario 2.1 to continue the short-term momentum. But obviously, just going off of what I believe could happen is the longs could play out. We'll make it up to the let's say the well, let me fix this, because essentially this, if we come down and find buyers down at the 630s, we are going to expect to have some acceptance here if we want to move higher in order to get up there to the 25.865 level. And it's going to look a little something like that. And this would be scenario 1. But obviously, if we find acceptance all the way up here, then we can expect even higher prices. and that'll kind of be like our 1.2 scenario, right? That'll be kind of be like our continuation to the upside. If scenario 1 starts to play out, okay, what's the second phase of scenario 1? And that is the 1.2 scenario. So this is our trade plan. If this happens, we will do this. If this happens, we will do this, right? So like mapping out my plan in if then statements, as famously said by Chris Trading Boxes. But yeah, I mean, if we do pull back to the 630s, man, that looks really good. We're bouncing off the 9 moving average. I mean, again, on ES, it's gonna be the same thing, nothing new under the sun, guys. In my opinion, again, we can find buyers down here at the 6.943 level, bouncing off the daily, the 1 hour 9 moving average. Find some acceptance at the 69.68, and then come up to the next dark hourly zone at 6.993. And then if we do find acceptance up there, like I said before, we're gonna have a little bit of chop, sideways to higher, and then we can then expect to hit kind of like the next target. So again, this will be scenario 1, and then we have scenario 1.2. And then let's say we do lose this zone. If we just go back to the hourly, I mean, we're really not bearish until we like completely sweep the monthly and yearly open. So, I mean, we can still like again, if we lose this level on ES, right? Let's say we do pull back all the way down here. That means we'd be pulling back all the way down to kind of around this area, right? It's going to be a little tricky on ES. I kind of also count this as scenario 1 to where we can find buyers either at the 6.943 level or 6.918. Maybe even the 68.93. But once we lose that zone again, like I'd be maybe looking for shorts, to be honest, because even then, like I can look for shorts down to this zone. And then let's say we lose this zone. Well, then that's where we can kind of like find some continuation to the downside, in my opinion. Now I'm going to label this one as a bearish scenario, but obviously, I mean, I can always find a reversal set up down there, which is why I kind of like left this open-ended like this. But then if we want to continue moving lower, finding acceptance down there, well, then I'd short, right? Again, it's all part of my trade plan. We'll see what plays out. It's not my job to be right all the time. It's just my job to follow my plan to the best of my abilities.